Alex here with a video on the problem of media. This video is inspired by the multiple comments I got back on Roe v. Wade, and I'm going to do this video, and then the next two videos will be the problem of money and then the problem of voting, and then I'll probably get back on the respondent review. I don't know if I specifically mentioned it, but I think one of the commenters, Lex H, pointed out that there's no perfect system and that all systems have flaws. Definitely an important disclaimer. This video and the other two videos are not me saying that our system is lame and there's a better one. I don't really know if there is. Nor is it me saying that we should make the system perfect. I don't think that's possible. More so, what I'm trying to do is go into my personal experiences, which is what I went into Roe v. Wade on. I kind of tied my own understanding and experiences with the court system. And also, these videos are tough because I think a lot of times, I've done a few of these before, people think that just because I'm saying a particular thing is the way that is, that I'm endorsing it or that I like it. More so, these are just my observations. I'm not necessarily saying that what I have observed is good and that I like it and I support it. So the reason that I can do this video is because of the Our Nevada Judges stuff. If I wasn't doing that, there is no way that I could talk about this. And I would just be guessing. And I can tell you guys, I'm not guessing anymore. I've seen it. I've seen media from very different angles. It's been kind of an adventure and also, well, scary. Some adventures are scary. The scary parts of it are the disillusionment, realizing that something is not the way that you thought it was, and that the way that it is really bad. But like I said earlier on, maybe there's nothing you can do about it, maybe, or at least by being aware of it, people will understand why it's the way that it is, and hopefully someday the game changes. And what I mean by that is there's this phrase, don't hate the player, hate the game. And it's very true. It's a very true phrase. There are like even politics, same thing. It's just going to continue to be the way that it is until the game changes. And that's goes for politics, goes for money, and goes for media. And like I said earlier, change doesn't necessarily mean a completely different transformation, or sorry, a completely different system. It just might mean tweaking things or being aware of issues and flaws and stuff like that. So my understanding of media is that money drives it because it has to. And if I said that to myself from like pre 2019 version Alex, I would be like, no, it doesn't have to. You're part of the corruption or you're evil. No, it does. It does have to because it's directly tied to your influence. It just is. The more money that an entity has, the more influence it can exert. The less that it has, the less influence that it can exert. There are certain entities where a whole lot of money doesn't go as far as maybe a one-person operation, who the public really is fond of and they like, where very little money can take it crazy far. The there I guess there may be there probably are exceptions out there. I wouldn't say necessarily that celebrities are it, um, especially when it comes to influencing politics and government. The only exception that jumps out at me as obvious is probably Martin Luther King, who was able to take like millions of people to Washington, D.C. with very little money. They just did it for him because he was so popular. Um, so just because there's exceptions to the rule doesn't mean it's like invalid. For the most part, this is the way that it works for a reason. More money means more cameras, means more equipment, more tripods, offices, people, staff, reporters, photographers. You can't like you can't do more without more money because people need to get paid so that they can pay their bills and go um, like live somewhere and get a car and all that stuff. It's I know that there's some people who think, well, there's viral stuff. Viral videos are just like they're what I said, viral videos. It's it's that one particular thing that people were interested in, and usually it was entertaining. Um, it's like a, what do they call it, a flash in the pan. It's not gonna be a budget. You can't budget on viral videos because there's a huge like element of randomness to what makes them viral. So that's another thing that people, I'm gonna point that out too. Like I do get huge donations from people every now and then, and they are really nice and appreciated, but I can't budget with them. I can't like I can't plan for next month because I got a $500 or a $1,000 donation this month because I don't know if that's going to come next month. Um, the best way for me to budget is actually the YouTube revenue. because that's pretty consistent. I mean, it goes up and down, but it's pretty consistent. And so I can say, okay, this is a reasonable amount of money to spend because I know that that's what I'm going to get next month. Um, it's not it's not possible to operate at a certain amount of loss. I mean, it impacts your family. It does. And so a total loss is not going to happen. But a third or a fourth or a fifth, I mean, that's something that I can handle for a certain amount of time. And it is connected to, what we can do because we can travel around and stuff and get to other courts. And of course, and I'm going to talk about not just our Nevada judges, I'm going to go into the other reporters that I've interacted with. That's one of the other things that I love about our Nevada judges is that I've been able to interact with the media. And beforehand, I never did. You could send stuff to them, you could call them, you can tweet them, you can email them. It's like winning the lottery if they do reply, and who knows what they're going to do with what you tell them. From the perspective of the Our Nevada Judges Administrator, it's a very different relationship. And they are all different. Some of them, you can tell they're just paycheck. That's just their job. That's all it is. They don't care. Others are really passionate about it. And then there's one person media that interact with me. There's mainstream media that interact with me. There's stuff right in the middle. There's like these media outlets that are not humongous, but they're definitely bigger than a one-man operation. They're all completely different in their style, in their approach, in how they talk to me, and vice versa. So I'll talk about that all in a second. What I was trying to say was a lot of times people will say we want the Our Nevada judges to go to all 50 states, or that they want more cases. That's another thing that I get a lot of people want their cases covered, but I've already covered that judge or that lawyer or that particular thing, and they don't realize that by covering them, I'm having to miss out on something else with a new judge or these are things that people don't think about. So a lot of times it's like, yeah, if we had more money, then we could do 2 or 3 cases at the same time, or I mean, that's basically what it is doing more cases at the same time because I'm just one person, and also the expansion to other states. The thing about being one person is I'm not even a whole person because most of my time goes to my family and my actual job with Amazon. So it's like they're not even getting a full Alex. It's like they're getting like 2/10 or a tenth of me, and I'm able to do all of this still, which is nuts, but I am. And that's kind of what you get, and that's what it's stuck at. So with more money, like I mentioned earlier, comes more equipment, more cameras, more people, more cases, and you can cover more stuff. So this is the same thing that's going on with all of the other media out there. I've realized this because I'm doing it, and I'm sure that that's what they're going through too. I don't know if the reporters or the employees really care, but the people who decide what publishes do, for sure. The people who are making the calls as to what's going to publish and what's, I guess, the editors and all that, they're the ones that are very cognizant that the money is connected to people's paychecks. And if you make certain people mad, they're not going to give you any more money and support. And that is going to directly connect to people losing their jobs, which is going to directly connect to influence contracting. So if you are doing media, your success is measured by not only your success, but your efficacy, and the point of your existence is measured by those that are watching, or being, if they're watching, they're being influenced by you typically. And so the loss of money is directly connected with failing as a media outlet. So people think it should be connected to morality and ethics and right and wrong, and if you're a good person, and if you tell the truth, and even if you confront really evil people, you're still telling the truth. So your success is measured by that. It's not. Your success is measured by your influence. I mean, think about it. A news media outlet could confront this super evil mega corporation and take them down, and then they lose all their money and they go out of business next week. I mean, the people probably really appreciate it, but they're gone now, and who's going to replace them? So this is like, I'm trying not to laugh, but it's almost a joke because there's no conspiracy. It's just the way it is. It's not like horrible people are in control of the news media. Maybe in a sense they kind of are because they keep the organization alive. It's just that the success is directly connected to the influence, which is directly connected to the money. So it's not like a secret. It's just the way that it works. It's the way that it was set. Maybe I'll talk more about it in the next video on the problem of money, and then after that, the problem of voting. But I think that my personal experiences have made it abundantly clear to me that the system works the way that it works because that's the way that it was designed to work. And another thing that I want to say before I go on to the other parts of this video are, I think a lot of people think that there are two roads. Like, there's the evil road where you get lots of money and you get rich. And then there's the other road where you do the right thing and I guess you feel good inside. It's not really like that. There's the road where you survive, and then there's the road where you go extinct. And it's not even really a choice. It's like it's an illusion. It's like it's not a real choice. It's fake. It's yeah, you can do this thing and feel good, and then you're done. It's over. There's no surviving it. It's not like there's a chance. It's a for sure. You're just done. And then there's the other way, which is the way that everyone goes, the way that it's just the road, and it's not very nice looking road, but it's the only choice. It's the only way. There's no two choices. I think that there are a lot of really dumb decisions a person can make where they'll end up failing even on that road. But it's really all that it is. If you don't find ways to generate more revenue, then you won't expand, and then you won't exert more influence, and then you'll just be what you are. And there's a lot of people that are fine with that on social media. There's like tons of channels on YouTube that's what they do, and they're fine with it. They're okay with it. And some of them are even borderline. I can't compare them to Martin Luther King. I was thinking about it, but you just can't compare them. And they're not even close to that kind of power. Well, I guess I want to disconnect. I'm going to throw some names out there. I'm going to completely disconnect them from that. I think that they are one-person operations, and they have a sort of outsized amount of support, and I think that they're really cool. One of them is the Joe Rogan channel. I've seen some of the stuff from Jesse Ventura. There's other groups that aren't even news groups that are really interesting. Like, there's I think it's the Big Herc. I forgot what the name of his channel is, but he covers like prison stuff. And you would not think that that's a topic that has a whole lot to it. And that guy has exposed a whole lot. I forgot what the name of his channel was. I feel bad now. Anyway, if you look it up, you'll find it. So there's these other channels, mainly YouTube, sometimes outside of the boundaries of YouTube, where they are really influential, and it's just a one-person thing. And that is really cool. They probably are just fine with doing what they're doing, and they're making a big impact. But they're not making anywhere near the impact of like Fox News or MSNBC or anything like that. Those guys are making all the impact. They're colossal. They're colossal, multi-billion-dollar organizations. Okay, so I was going to talk about my experiences with other reporters and my observations on how they operate. This is probably the last part of the video. So the first thing that I've noticed is the smaller the group, the spicier they are. It's abundantly clear to me. You can't miss it. When you work with them and you're paying attention to what they're doing, because they go on the Art of Nevada Judges website, I put them under the articles tab, you start to notice these patterns. And the one-person operations will say crazy stuff sometimes. They will go way out there. They will confront everyone, every single politician, every single company. They just don't have any precautions. They take every single risk, and they're fun to watch. And I read their stuff. Then there's the medium-sized groups, which they're more reserved, but they still go out on a limb sometimes. And when they do, it's fascinating to read about what they're doing. And of course, they piss people off, because unlike the one-person operations, it's harder to ignore them. They definitely piss people off. I've gotten messages from their enemies saying, hey, look at all this horrible stuff this particular news group is doing, with like videos and like documentation. They send it to me, and it's weird because it's like, I'm Art Nevada Judges. We just cover the judiciary, but they still send it to me, and I look at it and I read it, and I'm just like, wow, they have made some enemies. And then there is the gigantic media outlets here in Nevada, and they take almost no risks at all. None. and they're super safe with everything they publish. They're almost like a machine. Um, it's like they're on a script. They publish what they're supposed to publish. They get the views they're supposed to get. They get the influence they're supposed to get. They get the ad revenue they're supposed to get, and they move on and they do the same thing. It's like a cycle. Very predictable. They hardly ever do anything that's shocking. Extremely, extremely rare. The I team sometimes does, but it's not, even then. It's not really that like out there. I noticed that their reporters are the most ambivalent. They have the least passion. Not all of them. There's exceptions, but they it's a paycheck. They're there to collect a paycheck, and their interactions are the fewest and farthest between. I do have interactions with them. I have talked to them. I do have cell phone numbers, but it's like it's a very dispassionate thing for them. Like, I don't think that they are trying to save the world, and I think they're cool with it. It's just a job. Um, that's just the way it is. I think if you take risks when you're okay, you know what? That's one more thing I'll talk about before I stop. So when you're a teeny tiny, like one person group or a medium sized group, and you alienate people, it doesn't really matter because, I mean, in the financial sense, because they're not providing financial sense support anyway. So it's not going to impact your budget anyway. So you piss off these groups. Oh well, you can keep doing what you're doing. If you are starting to get support, financial support from a group or a company or a rich person, and you confront them and they pull the plug on your funding, now there's a problem because you've been relying on it. So since you've been relying on their funding, it's directly connected to your budget, which is directly connected to your operations and your staff, which is directly connected to your influence. So you could alienate a rich guy, which is now going to cost you, let's say, $4 million, which is now going to cost you 8 different reporters you have to let go, shut down an office, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to see that your influence contracts because now you just don't have as much going on. Some people will say, well, that's not true. If you do the right thing, you might get other people to support you instead. So yeah, that's kind of, you're not sure. Maybe they might, other people that didn't like that particular rich person or politician or company, they might say, yeah, you're a hero. Thanks for, for exposing them. That's one of the things. They're like, expose this evil person / company. Does that mean they're going to give you money though? They might not. And for how long if they do? So you can see how when the budget contracts, they don't see it as, oh, that's not a problem because we did the right thing and we told the truth. They see it as, well, now our budget's contracted, so now our influence is going to contract, and they directly connect their success and their efficacy to their influence. So to them, even though they did the right thing and they told the truth, they lose. They lose in the end. Remember all the disclaimers from the beginning, guys. Don't get mad at me. This is just the way it works, and these are just my observations. And I think that if you don't like how it works, you have to change it. So I think that in an ideal world, you're going to see an organization, a media entity, or a media outlet that's actually super honest and you know what the word is, unapologetically honest. That's, those two words together are everything. Unapologetically honest. They're going to just say, here's what's going on. Sorry if we pissed all of these people off. You're not going to see that unless you see that they're funded by mostly the public and mostly like rather than a small handful of people giving millions of dollars, millions of people giving a small amount of money. That's, in my opinion, that's the only way it's going to work. Is a group that just gets a whole lot of money from a whole lot of people rather than a whole lot of money from a small handful of people. And then, I mean, you can be more courageous. You can say what you're going to say. You're going to make some people mad. You might lose some supporters, but they weren't giving you that much anyway. The rest of these other millions and tens of millions of people are still going to back you, and so you're not going to see the budget contract that much. And if it does, you may see increases in other places. You won't see like a shocking, boom, I just lost 20 million. Like something like if you're getting support by, I don't want to name any companies. It's not meant to attack a company. I'm not going to name a company. There's companies out there that are multi-billion-dollar companies, and I think we even may have our first trillion-dollar company. I don't know. I'm not keeping track of all that stuff. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this video to be insightful. If you have any questions, feel free to post those questions down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.